Evelyn. I'm 18, and I'm about to become a mom. But my story isn't going to be about the early pregnancy. To some extent, the thing is that my ex-boyfriend has recently tragically died, and now his parents are willing to help me with our baby that I'm going to have. It's not actually his baby. It was a spring break. And my boyfriend, Johnny, and I had a big fight. So I went to visit my cousin to kind of cheer myself up. Johnny and I had been together for 2 years, and he just kept torturing me with jealousy, and I kind of got tired of it. So we decided to take this as a short break in our relationship. But while he kept texting me every day, I was trying to get over him and just so happened to meet Tyler. I knew that it would only be a short-term romance, because we lived in different cities, but I just couldn't help but fall in love with him. We spent days and nights together, and everything was just awesome and romantic. And when the time came for me to leave, I had made up my mind to break all ties with Johnny. When I got back, I was sure that if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to build another healthy relationship with someone else. But for some strange reason, I was also pretty confident that it wouldn't be easy to get rid of him. It was Sunday morning, and I was already back home, ready to meet Johnny at a cafe to have that serious talk. Of course, I didn't mention Tyler at all, but I must admit I couldn't get him out of my head when I got to the cafe. I couldn't find Johnny anywhere, so I began calling him, but he didn't answer. I decided to wait a little bit, but after about 30 minutes, when he neither showed up nor picked up his damn phone, I got really angry. So I just texted him that he totally missed his chance to talk to me and that he could be free as a bird and just go home. But later that day, one of our common friends called me, and I found out why Johnny never showed up at that cafe. A taxi hit him. The ambulance got there right away, but Johnny didn't make it and died on the way to the hospital. Eyewitnesses said that he was in a hurry and was carrying a flower bouquet with him, and in his pants pocket, a small box with a ring was found. I'm sure you guys can imagine how horrible it was. In addition, everyone around me saw me as Johnny's widow because for them, we were supposed to be together, right? I don't know. I felt so guilty when I was saying my condolences to his parents. I felt that I just had to keep in touch with them after they'd lost their only son and his mom. Oh, she insisted on me having that stupid ring because, as she said, it was something that Johnny would have wanted, and I just couldn't break her heart and tell her the truth about us. It was quite a tough period, but at least Tyler found me on Facebook, and we began chatting with each other. He turned out to actually be quite supportive of me. Actually, everything looked like we had just continued our romance online, and this cheered me up. But still, after that stress and everything, my health went down a little bit. I couldn't eat anything, and my stomach hurt really bad, and I felt nauseated all the time. So after a month of being sick, I finally decided to visit my doctor, who happened to be one of Johnny's mom's friends. Well, it turned out that I was pregnant. Honestly, I didn't intend to keep the child. I was too young to be a mom. Besides taking into account that period of my pregnancy, Tyler was the father, and this would definitely complicate our relationship. But guess what? I wasn't the only one who happened to find out about my pregnancy that day. And when Johnny's mom called me to say that she needed to see me, I knew exactly what her friend had told her. That's why when I went to their house and knocked on their door, I was scrambling trying to find proper words to start probably the hardest conversation of my life. Their reaction totally blew my mind. Oh no, I didn't tell them anything because they didn't give me any chance to talk at all. You should have seen their faces filled with amazement and happiness. They decided that that baby was Johnny's, and they called it a miracle, and God's providence or something like that. Johnny's mom said that it was her son's soul that was trying to reach her in the form of that baby, and that after that tragedy, they finally had meaning in their lives again, and so on. They also said that they'd provide any assistance for me in raising that child and give me the money they'd been saving to send Johnny to college and stuff like that. When I left their house, I had a feeling that something had hit me on the head. I was totally lost, confused, and incredibly embarrassed. I saw that hope in their eyes, and I just couldn't tell them that I had another guy, that it was definitely his baby, and that I had kind of cheated on their son. I was so swept away with all these thoughts that I nearly got into a car crash on my way home. Also, I had another crazy thought in my head, like, how should I tell my parents about everything? I thought that if bad karma really existed, this was it. My panel praised my willingness to break Johnny's heart. I was totally frustrated for the next couple of days, and I didn't really want to talk to anybody. Tyler kept texting me on Facebook, asking what was going on and why I wasn't texting him back. I really wanted to explain everything, just to have somebody else be worried about my situation, you know? But at the same time, I didn't want to lose him because I really liked him texting him back. I really wanted to explain everything, just to have somebody else be worried about my situation, you know? But at the same time, I didn't want to lose him because I really liked him. I also knew that I better tell my parents about the pregnancy myself because, after I'd seen Johnny's mom's reaction, I was afraid that she would call my mom at some point to congratulate her, and that would definitely complicate everything even more. I couldn't come up with any better idea than to announce my news during dinner. I can't say that my mom and dad were ecstatic about it, but they weren't angry either. Frankly, my mom got a little offended that Johnny's mom found out about the grandchild first, and it turned out that she was also thinking in favor of that reincarnation thing. Dad said that he thought that I was smart enough to be aware of contraceptive methods, but once again, he didn't really get as angry as I thought he would. So next, my parents decided to set up a dinner and invite Johnny's parents to discuss our situation, and it was scheduled for that coming Friday. And until that day, I tried to avoid talking to anybody, especially Tyler, because, honestly, I just didn't know what to tell him. And then suddenly, I heard my mom talking on the phone with her sister. You know, the mother of that cousin who I was visiting during that freaking spring break. Oh my, how could I forget that she was the one who actually knew about me and Tyler? I immediately rushed to my room to call her. She's always been that easygoing and understanding type of girl. So I thought that I better tell her the truth about the father of my baby so she wouldn't tell anybody else about that romance of mine. Besides, I wanted her to keep my pregnancy a secret from Tyler until I figured out what to tell him. But when I called Melissa, she was like, oops. And then she told me that Tyler had already asked for my actual address and was on his way to surprise me with an unannounced visit that caused me to really freak out. I got totally lost and just didn't know what I should do. I tried to reach Tyler, even though I hadn't yet decided how to tell him that he shouldn't come, but he didn't answer my call anyway. Of course, I was too nervous to sleep that night. I struggled to get my thoughts together, and I even tried to play out the probable outcomes of my revealing everything. And none of them were satisfactory enough. It seemed like whatever decision I made would hurt somebody's feelings. That's why I thought that nothing could get any worse. And in the morning, I told my parents the truth. I mean, all of it. Do you remember how I was afraid of their reaction to the news about my pregnancy? Well, this time it wasn't even close to what I could imagine. It was much worse. Mom began yelling at me for my recklessness and blaming me for pulling the wool over her eyes, Johnny's parents' eyes, and she was totally right with every single word she said. But Dad's reaction was the worst. He just said nothing and left for work. But before he left, he gave me a look of complete disappointment, and that made me cry so hard and feel so miserable. As soon as I calmed down a little bit, Mom handed me the phone and told me that I had to call Johnny's parents and tell them everything myself, despite the fact that she was also mad at me. She was holding my hand while I was on the phone with his mom. It was enormously hard, but I still felt relieved. Deep inside, even though the only thing Johnny's mom told me was that she hoped that me and my baby would be okay, but she wanted me to stay out of their lives. I got hysterical once again, but this time my mom hugged me and told me to stay calm for the baby, which actually meant that I still had no other option but to keep it. This was the toughest day of my life because in the evening, Tyler showed up at my parents' and insisted on me telling him the truth right away. How ironic! He thought that he would surprise me, but he turned out to be the one who got surprised. Instead, he said he needed some time to cope with the news, and I couldn't blame him for now. It's been a week since we saw each other, and we haven't talked much so far. Do you like my story? Then click on the corresponding button, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.